I'm David Scandura.
I'm Justus Burkett.
And today we're here to find out, is Deep Cover the greatest movie ever made?
Then we'll have barbecue jumbo shrimp. You motherfucker!
Get back in the fucking car, David!
Welcome to the greatest movie ever made, the show where we watch a movie and tell you if it's the greatest movie ever made.
Buy it!
A movie that is so thoroughly entertaining and compelling that while you're watching it, it's the only thing that matters in the world.
One of the few laugh lines of this movie. Buy it!
What I really liked is Jeff Goldblum going, "I love ballin' black girls."
Jeff Goldblum's on sicko mode in this movie. He's such a fucking little freak. He's like, this movie, because like Jeff Goldblum, obviously, he's like one of those guys where his persona as a guy has sort of grown larger than any of the roles that he has played.
Right.
He's more known as a personality than he is as any of his individual characters, right? And so, like, you watch Jeff Goldblum performances, and some of the late career ones are sort of buoyed by his persona, his outside the movie persona.
Right. Thor Ragnarok was on TV at the hotel I was staying at, and that is clear. That entire performance is just like, hey, we have Jeff Goldblum in
Let's
this
just
role.
have him Goldblum around.
He's
for
just
a little
doing
bit.
that.
And then you watch some of his like early to mid career stuff, because like this movie is close to Jurassic Park, but a little before, like a year or two before, right?
Yeah.
And but like we're also a few years post The Fly at this point. And I think that this movie is sort of an interesting it is an interesting transition point between full on Cronenbergian freak in The Fly and like Jeff Goldblum going rock star mode and mostly staying there after Jurassic Park, right? and so in this movie he's like a slimy, weird, like despicable little freak who also kind of has rock star energy. Which he, like in The Fly, it's more like this, like it's like he's a nerd and he's a sexy nerd, but he's like a weird nerd. And then like later on it's like, oh, that's just like a sexy guy. And in this he's kind of playing both, he's doing both things, which I really like.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a transitionary role for him.
Yeah. Also
he's between evolutions.
Also sort of galaxy brain casting in this movie, having Jeff Goldblum in this role, which like I feel like there's some of that in this movie in other spots too. Like there's other just like I think really interestingly cast roles, and I think maybe that comes from Bill Duke being a character actor for so long. But like, and I apologize that at the end of our last episode I didn't know about Bill Duke's auspicious directing career, which really makes me feel bad that that I only knew him as a character actor guy, considering he is like a great filmmaker. I have learned in the week since.
Yeah.
But I wonder if being a guy who is often interestingly cast in movies gave him, and I know that there was a casting director on this movie, but the director still has some oversight over those things often, right? And I just feel like it may be like, if it wasn't him putting people in these roles, he at least had an idea of how to direct and film these, capture these performances on camera, because he's like been on the other side of it as the guy who's interesting in a movie so much.
Yeah, well, and a lot of the cast, which is made up of great character actors across the board.
Yeah.
A lot of them worked with Bill Duke multiple times.
Yeah.
And including Laurence Fishburne also starred in Hoodlum with Bill Duke a few years after this. So like he was able to get together a group of great actors and continue to work with them over the years.
Yeah.
His Bill Duke's directing career is an interesting kind of anomaly. We'll talk a little bit about it. It was difficult to do research on this movie. I didn't quite have time to do research on this movie. I've seen it before, but we'll have a little bit to talk about in terms of the making of this. And we'll get to talk about Bill Duke more. But David Scandura, joined as always by my co-host Justus Burkett.
Sorry, I forgot we hadn't gotten there.
This happens sometimes where we just start,
yeah,
which is fine.
Yeah, I'll like interrupt and then just lead us down like a little rabbit hole. It's fine.
Yeah.
People who are listening at episode 119 probably know what the show is. But if it's your first time because you're just a big fan of Deep Cover, don't worry, we're going to be talking about the movie more.
Yeah. How are you doing? Do you have anything to recommend?
I'm doing like, I don't know. I'm doing weird, I guess. I just like it feels like it's just been I think more of the same thing that I've been complaining about, where it's just like all of my problems are my own fault, and most of them stem from my poor time management. Which is annoying, but also like I can't say I'm doing bad necessarily. I just feel like I'm like self-sabotaging at every turn, I guess, which is like not an awesome way to feel. But nothing catastrophic going on, so I guess I'm all right. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything to recommend other than I gave it a shout out on our social media when we were dark last week, but I do want to just encourage anyone who hasn't seen 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple in theaters to catch it if it is still in a theater where you are, because I know that they have been pulling it out of theaters because it is not performing well. So, like, it's worth seeing on the big screen, and I would say if you have not seen it, go see it, especially because I am afraid that we're not going to get a third one.
Yeah,
I really need that third movie.
I'd like to echo that sentiment. I think it whips ass. I think if you are one of the people who didn't like 28 Years Later, I think The Bone Temple will at least be a step in the right direction for you.
Yeah, and if you did like 28 Years Later, you're still also going to love The Bone Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different, but it still feels like it's a spiritual success. It's very much in line with the first movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, and it's just it's stressing me out that it has not made back its budget.
Yeah,
because I'm like, if like hopefully the big name actor who's attached to the third one, which is kind of a spoiler. Even saying that is kind of a spoiler for The Bone Temple. But there's a big name actor attached, and Boyle and Garland are planning to come back for the third one. And I'm like, and by the third one, I mean the fifth one. That's how this franchise works. And it's like, I hope that cachet is enough to get it made, even if the second one doesn't loses money, which it seems poised to. But I'm apprehensive. I'm worried about it.
Yeah, I am too. I don't know, man. Like, January movie, releasing it a few months after the first one.
Yeah.
I think it may have...
I think Sony also kind of fucked them on marketing.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like I didn't really see this movie marketed. At least not in the same way that the first 28 Years Later was. Because the first 28 Years Later, the marketing felt pretty inescapable. Like, I in digital spaces, I feel like I was seeing stuff for that movie all the time. And then for Bone Temple, it kind of took me a while to even realize that it was coming out when it was. And I'm a person who like really loved that first movie. And so I feel like it shouldn't have been that hard to reach me.
It also like wasn't clear, I think, when 28 Years Later was announced that they were doing other movies. Like,
right.
I had to go online and look up and be like, oh shit, this is actually a trilogy.
Right, because when you saw the first movie, like the way it ends, you're like, okay, so I guess there's gonna be a sequel?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they hadn't really like, I feel like Sony has not been doing a good job. It's not been putting its best foot forward as far as like raising awareness of this franchise, I don't know. But yeah, go see The Bone Temple. It's good. And
it's got a bone temple in it.
It's got a bone temple. It's also got Ralph Fiennes' bone temple. He's fucking hanging bone in that movie.
Yeah, not enough people talking about that.
It's crazy that Ralph Fiennes has his hog out in the fourth 28 movie. The fourth 28 period of time later movie. But God bless him. And Nia DaCosta directed the shit out of that movie, and it really makes me want to explore more of her movies, because the only one that I had seen was her Candyman requel, which I didn't like. But now I'm like, maybe that was more of a script thing, and I should give some of her earlier stuff a shot. So, how are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah,
kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
Like It's just been the story of the last few months, and I think it's like coming to a head a little bit where I am ping-ponging back and forth between feeling like totally lost and down in the pit, and then being like, oh no, it's okay, I can get through this.
Yeah.
I'm starting a new job. There's been a lot of stress associated with it. We've talked about this off mic.
Yes.
And it's just kind of like a time of it's weird. It's a time of uncertainty. I have a job. Like there is a job that I'm going to that I have.
Yes.
But it's been
both a blessing and a curse to have a job.
Right. And I got out of my last job, which was screwing over its employees.
Yeah.
And
really fucked up situation.
That's still not fully resolved, and I still have insurance claims to file regarding the bankruptcy that's going on with this company to get some of the money that I was owed.
Yeah.
So like that sucks, but I'm not working there anymore, and like I'm not worrying every day about things that are outside of my control.
Right.
I'm worried about the things that are within my control now, which is the new job that I voluntarily took.
And sometimes it's like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like sometimes it is less comfortable to be worried about the things that are in your control versus out of your control. Because I feel like when I'm worried about stuff that's out of my control, there's always that part of me that's like, well, how much can I really do about this? Like, this isn't really, like, somebody else has to figure this out, and I'm worried that they're not going to figure it out. But at the end of the day, it's like, there's only so much I can do. Whereas when you're worried about shit that's in your control, it's like, well, fuck, now I got to do something about it.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that I hate, is the part where it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? It's like, I don't know. I don't want to do anything about it. I just want to complain.
Yeah. So, that's been what I've been going through.
Yeah.
I had a week-long training. It's been like a pretty extensive training process too for this.
Yeah.
And I had a week-long training that like I was ping-ponging back and forth during that, as far as like feeling confident and feeling nervous. I sort of came out of it on the other side feeling like pretty good about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was waiting for a call to know when my actual start date was.
Yeah.
And during that time, then I went back the other way and started feeling nervous about it again.
Right. You'll be fine.
So I'm just like, this is just going to be how things are
yeah,
for a little while, and I'm just going to have to learn to cope with that.
Yeah. You'll be fine. Like any new job, there are going to be definitely moments early on where you feel like you suck at it, probably. And it's like, that's doing any new thing.
Yeah.
And then like if you just like keep grinding at it, eventually it will become something that you don't even have to think about doing, and you'll be annoyed by it, just like any other job.
And my dad said it's not rocket science, which is a cliche, but it's also like, yeah, it's not fucking rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
People can do this.
Yeah.
I met a bunch of people over the last few weeks who have done this and have done it for years and are going to retire with great benefits.
Yes.
If they stick it out.
I would venture to say lots of like way dumber people than you have done this job.
Yeah. I saw Sam Raimi's new motion picture Send Help.
Yeah, I've been interested in that one.
Fun time at the movies. Raimi's back in freak mode.
Sam's back.
I did not love it as much as other people do.
Yeah.
I think that's probably because just like, I mean, see our Spider-Man episode. I think some of Raimi's artistic choices don't always work for me.
You think he's a little cornball?
He's a little stinker sometimes, and I like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I do quite like some of those choices in this movie. But I also didn't love the way that it looked.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of it kind of looks like streaming movie, which sucks. And I don't love the digital effects.
Right.
There's a decent amount of digital effects in it that I don't think held up.
Yeah.
But it has a couple great performances, and I had a lot of fun with it.
I want to see that movie because I cannot imagine disliking a movie directed by Sam Raimi that has Rachel McAdams in it. It's just, that's a recipe for success in my book.
Yeah.
So I'll be checking that one out.
Yeah, and she's great. Like, I think they first worked together on the second Doctor Strange movie.
Mm.
That's probably, I don't know that she's done anything else with him.
Okay, maybe I
like-
need to amend that statement because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't like that Doctor Strange movie.
I mean, it's clear that like the best thing that came out of that movie is they liked working together enough that they worked on this together.
right.
And it also seems like Raimi had very little studio interference on this. Like he was given the creative freedom to make this movie his own.
Yeah.
And I think that was definitely a benefit to the
Hell
film. So, yeah.
I had to look up who directed the movie Red Eye because Rachel
Wes
McAdams is in
Craven.
that. It is Wes Craven. Because in my head, for whatever reason, I was like, did Sam Raimi direct that? But no, it was Wes Craven. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Bill Duke's Deep Cover.
Yes, Deep Cover from 1992, the year of both of our births.
Yeah.
So you'd seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I went into this thing cold. I didn't know anything about it. Clearly, I didn't even know that Bill
You
Duke
know-
made movies because I'm a fucking fake film fan
Right.
who doesn't know anything.
Yeah, Bill Duke. Legendary character actor Bill Duke.
Yes, that's how I knew him.
Right.
It's like, yeah, the guy from Predator.
And
yeah.
primarily has a directing career in television.
Yeah.
He's done episodes of Twilight Zone. Wikipedia claimed without a citation that he is one of the first black television directors.
Cool.
That may or may not
Cool
be true,
without a citation.
but like has a tiny little film career. A lot of his films are made for TV films, but he's notably directed crime movies like this, like A Rage in Harlem, like Hoodlum, and also Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But most of his stuff, I think, is low budget, made for TV films.
Gotcha.
And Deep Cover is kind of considered to be his masterpiece. It's in the Criterion Collection. It's had some cultural revision over the years because it wasn't terribly successful on its release, even though it did have some critical reception, positive critical reception. Like Roger Ebert loved this thing.
Yeah.
Also, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg contributed the title song.
Yes.
And it's the debut of Snoop Dogg.
Yes, it's Snoop Dogg's studio debut, which really blew me away. When that song started playing over the credits, I was like, oh shit, I know this song, because I had heard it before. And I was like, did they write this for this movie? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, they did. And also, this is Snoop Dogg's studio debut. He had like a mixtape that he had independently recorded. That like got him on Dre's radar. But he had never recorded anything in a studio before until this song for this movie, which is fucking wild.
Yeah. I think it's one of those situations where the soundtrack does better than the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that, this was a pretty successful single.
Also, in much the same way that Laurence Fishburne is Larry Fishburne in this movie.
Yeah, baby.
Before getting his iconic name change. Snoop Dogg is Snoop
Dogg.
Doggy Dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I kind of miss when he was throwing the doggy in there. You know? I kind of liked when... And I know that, like, that has, like, some dirty connotations. He kind of cleaned up his image because he's, like, a businessman and shit.
Right. He's doing Martha Stewart appearances and such.
Well, Martha Stewart, you know, she's been to prison. Like, they have that in common. It's cool that Snoop Dogg got off for almost definitely murdering a guy. I think that's cool. He's been to jail, but not for killing that guy who he almost definitely did kill. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of am like, you could have held on to the doggy. Remember when he was doing Snoop Lion for a little bit?
Yeah, because he was doing a little reggae. He had a couple reggae albums.
Hell yeah, man. I love that guy.
And it was like, no, I am no longer Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
You must refer to me as
I
Snoop
am now
Lion.
Snoop Lion. It's cool that like if he's like fucking, you know, in like a Rocket Money commercial or whatever, I'm like, if this was anybody else, I'd be like, they're giving all the fucking little commercial roles to like celebrities. It's like, give this to an up and coming actor, let them make a little dough instead of just giving it to the same like 10 like stocks celebrity spokespeople. I feel that way when it's like anyone except Snoop Dogg, and then when it's Snoop Dogg doing it, I'm like, hell yeah, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg selling out is kind of adorable.
Yeah, I kind of like it when he does it.
It's
for
like, oh,
whatever
good
reason.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's just because he wears it well, you know? It's just like, he can like shill anything, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably buy that. Yeah, I'll buy your fucking gin and juice or whatever that they're selling in cans now.
Oh yeah, of course they are.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, Deep Cover.
yeah,
I watched this a couple years ago, because of the Bill Duke thing, because of Laurence Fishburne, and was kind of not ready for it. It was one of those where it was like late at night.
yeah.
I put this thing on, not really knowing what to expect, and this movie throws a lot at you.
I can really see not being ready for this movie. This is a movie where it's like, if you are not in the headspace for this movie, it's gonna hit weird for you. Because like, I didn't know anything about this movie. I know Bill Duke as an actor, and I know that he's like an actor in a lot of stuff, but mostly what I've seen him in is action movies, right? And it's like, I look at the poster, and I know it's directed by Bill Duke, and I know it has Laurence Fishburne in it, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be kind of like an action thriller. And then it's like, really not. Like, there is action in this movie, but not a lot. Other than the car chase, there's not like action set pieces in this movie. It's pretty quiet and contemplative and like thematically dense and is way more of like a noir than it is like an action movie, you know. And yeah, it's just kind of like way more of like a detective thriller type thing than I think I was expecting. And also it's like about the moral rot that the war on drugs in the 80s created in American society, and that's like not something that you can like engage with lightly.
Yeah,
it's heavy. This movie's heavy shit.
It's a dark reflection on the Reagan era.
Yeah.
It's like a postmortem for the Reagan era. And it has so many different genres and tones that it's going for. I can't like say this for sure. I don't know if this is what Bill Duke was going for, but it feels like Bill Duke stealing from the masters. It is Bill Duke's version of a Scorsese film, of a Spike Lee film.
Yeah.
There's elements of blaxploitation in here. There's elements of noir.
Yep.
And he's kind of creating something that feels fresh and new.
You know what's interesting too is it feels a little bit like some of his contemporaries at the same time. Like, it feels like he's borrowing. Am I insane if I say it feels like he's borrowing a little bit from John Woo in this movie? And what I mean by that is like the visual, some of the really striking visual decisions in this movie, coupled with the like emotional sincerity and it like wearing its themes on its sleeve kind of feels similar to like John Woo, who is like way more in the action camp than this movie is. But there were moments of this movie where I was like, like if a dove flew across the frame right now, I would be like, yeah, that tracks. Like,
well, the melodrama of Woo is what comes through.
I think that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. The climax of the film, where Laurence Fishburne reveals that he's a cop and is trying to save the life of another cop. Yeah. And Jeff Goldblum is like, I don't give a fuck that you're a cop. Just take the money and come with me.
Yeah.
That's like, that feels like something out of A Better Tomorrow or Hard Boiled.
Yes, especially because at that point, Jeff Goldblum is costumed and styled like a John Woo character, and also sort of has become like the sympathetic version of the devil.
Yeah, he's the devil. He's the devil.
Yeah.
He's the devil on Laurence Fishburne's shoulder.
Yes.
Being like, just take the fucking money.
Yeah.
I know you love it.
Yeah. The fact that the movie earns that scene, that climax, is crazy, because it's like, if you showed me that scene in isolation, I would be like, what the fuck is this movie where Jeff Goldblum is like a cartoon devil?
Yeah.
But then you see that scene after the movie that you watched, and it like is earned. It like doesn't feel over the top or outrageous at all. Even though Goldblum is like, he's like so weird and intense in that last scene in a way that I'm like, yeah, you really have to track this character's whole journey for this moment to like make sense.
Yeah.
You know?
I would also say there's stuff here that reminds me of Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
One thing that I haven't mentioned that maybe I'm just missing because I'm not entirely familiar with this subgenre of crime films is the hood film.
Mm-hmm.
Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, New Jack City.
And I'm pretty woefully ignorant there as well.
So there could be influence from there too, because I definitely it seems like this shares some DNA with those films, specifically in how it's addressing the Black experience, with Laurence Fishburne's character. So that could be something that I'm missing out on, but it does feel like Bill Duke's own version of like you said, his contemporaries and also the greats like Scorsese.
Yeah.
And coming back to it this time, that really struck me. I don't think I picked up on that as much the first time. But what I did pick up on is Laurence Fishburne, our greatest living actor.
Yeah. You know what? I never thought that this take was bad, but I get it more now.
Right?
Like I'm maybe not quite there. I love Laurence Fishburne, don't get me wrong. But like before I saw this performance, I was kind of like, oh yeah, David's right. Laurence Fishburne is great and stuff. And then seeing him in this, it's like seeing it's like seeing like one of the masters tackle like Hamlet or Macbeth. It is like such a layered, cerebral, introspective role. And initially I was like, oh, this performance is being undercut by the voiceover narration that they're having him do. And then about a third of the way into the movie, I was like, no, never mind. The voiceover narration is like adding to the interiority of his performance when he's not doing it.
Yeah, it's the voiceover's never overbearing to me.
And it's like poetic. And it the thing that was like really starting to hit for me when I came around to the voiceover narration is that paired with the music, it's almost like it's almost musical.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's almost like he's rapping over the beat a few times, which I think is intentional. Especially when like the way that this movie deploys rhyme in the dialogue is fucking insane.
Oh yeah.
And it's like there are moments where with like the rhyming couplets, or at one point at the late in the movie when Fishburne is talking to the religious cop and he does the little rhyming thing, it's more than just a couplet. He like deploys like a complex rhyme scheme there. And it's like it was making me think about hip hop. It was also making me think about Shakespeare, and it was also like making me, that moment specifically feels very surreal, right? And I was like, I fucking hate just name dropping Lynch over and over again, but it is a moment that feels a little bit like it's like, yeah, this is dreamlike, and the rhyme is sort of highlighting the unreality of this moment, you know, and how this moment is thematically true, but maybe not like literally true for the characters, right? They're kind of speaking to each other's souls in a way that maybe they aren't actually talking to each other on this sidewalk right now, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Have you played Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
You know when you would stab a guy and
Yes,
then you'd have the little monologues with them?
In the dream realm?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Ezio Auditore stabs some fucking fat Italian pervert, and he's like, oh, they betrayed me. The fucking cabal is looking for the apple or whatever.
And then they have a 5-minute dialogue scene together before he bleeds out.
I was looking for the secret to eternal life, or whatever.
Yeah. The rhyming couplets in this movie, I think some of them are direct references to songs or poetry.
Yeah.
I don't know all of them. Every time those come up, they kind of threw me for a loop. It's kind of off kilter and strange.
I like that,
and
they kind of
it's
break,
cool.
Yeah, I really like that they kind of break the reality of the movie for a second.
Yeah,
because it sounds so written. Like it doesn't sound naturalistic. It sounds artistic in a way that like is not how people speak.
Yeah.
And what it does is the same thing that a rhyming couplet in Shakespeare does. I'm so fixated on this because that's my profession, right? Which is like in Shakespeare, the rhyming couplet is supposed to put a button on everything that has been said before. And I feel like they serve a really similar purpose in this movie, where it's like when someone like switches into rhyme, it helps to coalesce all of the thematic stuff that has happened already in the scene and like put a fine point on
Right.
it.
Emphasize the drama.
Yeah, right. It's like a little exclamation point at the end of the scene.
Yeah. And I think this movie deals in a very interesting world that blends the line between gritty reality and fantasy, because it's dealing in noir, which is a heightened genre. It's dealing in blaxploitation, which is a heightened genre.
Right.
But it also does feel like it's tapping into a kind of the dark, grim reality of the streets.
Yeah. And also of America post Reagan, right? Like it's like I like that the moral rot in this movie is not exclusively relegated to the streets. It's like the halls of power are as bad.
Right.
Right.
Everyone in this movie's fucking awful.
Yes.
Everyone's a despicable piece of shit, and you have Laurence Fishburne at the center of it, trying to, as kind of like a grounding. His performance is a little bit more grounding, and everyone else is over the top.
Yeah.
But also is trying to like be the moral center of everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of a battle for his soul.
Yes. Totally.
And becomes sort of quite literal at the end when Jeff Goldblum becomes the devil.
Yes, right. When the battle is literally between the guy telling him to believe in some kind of higher purpose and higher power, and the guy being like, "Fuck it, there's nothing but this money."
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I mean, there's characters like one of the low level dealers that Fishburne shoots in the bathroom.
Wild Wild West.
Yeah, that guy's like. That guy's fucking crazy. He's got like bulging biceps. He's screaming. He's got a tank top on. He's got this girlfriend with like a biker cap, and he's got a big ass medallion with the Cadillac logo on it. This guy's from a
like
totally different movie.
Yeah, he's pissing on Laurence Fishburne, which is awesome. Yeah. The sort of like balance between like the grounded and the sort of more like surreal elements of this movie, I think is really well. Like I think that the balance is like really sweet. It's like exactly what you want. It's like if you're cooking with two different flavor profiles, you want to make sure one's not overpowering the other, and I feel like this is like perfect fucking like sweet and sour, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really working. Because it's like if it was too much one or the other, like if it was more surreal than this, I think maybe some of the performances would maybe get a little bit like lost. And also like some of the thematic stuff wouldn't be quite as potent. But also if it was like more real than this and didn't have those like moments where it was like heightened, then it just wouldn't have the same emotional resonance. I feel like it's like you really got to hit both things. And I feel like that's a thing that Bill Duke is also good at as an actor. I feel like he's really good at like balancing being grounded and then like delivering like big bursts of like color when you want it.
Yeah, I mean like his performance in Predator is entirely that. Like he's playing that thing dead serious.
Yeah.
But he's also in a movie with a bunch of roided up freaks hunting down a giant alien bounty hunter.
It is crazy that in a movie where everyone is like in peak physical shape, Bill Duke is like the most intimidating guy in that whole movie just because of his sheer size. He's just so large.
He's fucking giant.
He's enormous.
Have you seen Commando?
No, I haven't. I need to.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I eat green berets for breakfast, and I'm very hungry. He and Arnold have a fist fight in that movie.
Hell yeah, dude.
And Bill Duke like towers over Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Fuck yeah, he's so big. It's cool that he's still alive because big guys a lot of the time don't live that long.
Yeah, he's 82.
but he's doing all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, we can probably start sprinkling in some of the plot of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Larry Fishburne, well, first in the opening scene, we get the child version of Larry Fishburne's character. This is Russell Stevens Jr. And it is a thing that I was thinking about a lot in this movie, where I'm like, it's always a very intentional choice when you give the protagonist the name of their father, right? When they are the second or when they are a junior, that's like a really intentional screenwriting choice. And it's especially potent when you show us the dad that they're named after, right? Because it's like that immediately has the audience thinking about the legacy that is being passed down to this character. The name that is attached to them is like a constant reminder of that, right? And it's like, yeah, like it's in the narrative, it's like his literal dad, but it immediately gets you thinking about like what we all societally inherit from the generation before us, which is like really clearly a big thing in this movie. It's like he is Russell Stevens Jr. because like the Russell Stevens of the generation before shaped the America that he is living in, right? So his dad is like a drug addict and an alcoholic, and it's like robbing liquor stores and stuff.
Yeah.
This scene is
Father of the fucking year.
Okay.
He's like, don't do this shit.
Yeah.
As he's snorting.
Yeah, he's snorting coke in front of his son, and like maybe taking nips from a bottle too. I don't quite remember. And then he's like, "Don't ever fucking do this shit." And the kid's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Did you hear me?" And he's like, "It's like we've talked about how we like sometimes we don't like bad parents in real life. Sometimes in movies, bad parenting can kind of be a thing where you're like, man, I love to see people behaving badly. This scene sort of started that way for the first like 10 seconds where I was like, wow, this guy's a real piece of shit. And then it gets dark enough and human enough fast enough that I was like, oh, this is not fun anymore. This is only sad.
Yeah. It's Christmas too.
Oh yeah, this is a Christmas movie.
And he's like, what do you want for Christmas?
Yeah.
As he's yelling at his kid. And,
yeah, he's
drinking.
like, don't ever be like me, but also, if you want something in this world, you got to go out there and fucking take it because nobody's going to give it to you. And then he like loads a gun in front of his child and walks into a liquor store and shoots a person. I also like this fucking predator Santa who just comes up to the window and is like, hey, little boy, you been good? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure what this guy's plan is, but I think Russell Stevens Sr. is right to chase him off. Because it's like, why are you fucking leering through the car window at my son? I left him alone for 10 seconds, and this fucking pedo in a Santa suit is immediately, like, sniffing him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he dies with, like, $20 in his hand.
It's so
and it's covered in blood.
Yeah,
and
it's such a wild and striking choice to like from the kid's POV, you see his chest like explode onto a window because he gets shot in the back, and it's like really gory and really violent, and is an image that follows you for the rest of the movie in the way that it needs to.
Yeah. And the money comes back as a recurring motif.
Literal blood money.
Because he's kept the money after all these years.
Yes, literal blood money, which is very heavy-handed. This movie is often very heavy-handed in a way that I actually like and appreciate. Like, it earns the heavy-handedness by also being thematically dense and complex enough that you can forgive the heavy-handedness because it's like, yeah, this movie gives you so much to think about that some of it has to be obvious. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plot is intentionally, I think, quite dense at times.
Yeah.
But the stakes and the drama aren't always clear, but I think the heavy-handedness helps hammer home some of those themes.
Yeah.
I think it also informs the kind of strange tone that this thing has.
Yeah.
And if it works for you, like it did for me this time,
yeah,
then I think it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Case in point, the next scene that we have is what's his name? Gerald Carver.
Okay.
Played by Charles Martin Smith.
Charles Martin Smith. I hope is a lovely man in real life, but he does an immaculate job of playing the slimiest, greasiest little rat fuck you've ever seen in this movie. I want to pick this dude up by the neck and slam him against a wall.
The sheer balls, the pendulous testicles on Bill Duke to introduce a character by having him interview black police officers and ask them if they know the difference between a black man and the N-word.
Yes.
What a what a genius move. Because you fucking hate this guy from the jump.
Yeah, like really intentionally. And then the movie sort of like keeps movie continues, and you see him interacting with Laurence Fishburne. And that first impression of him that you got is always living in your head. And you're just like waiting for it to come back around, because it's like, we have been shown that this dude is a fucking horrendous, evil racist, you know? And it's like, and then he's like kind of quote unquote one of the good guys for a decent amount of the movie. And then like when it comes back around, it's so satisfying, because you're like, I knew that sniveling little rat fuck piece of shit I knew he was always crooked and always bad, you know, even when it seemed like he was trying to help Fishburne out.
Right. Because the question that he asks is a test to see how the officer will react.
Yeah.
And when Fishburne comes up to him and his reaction is, you know, the real N would be the type of person to answer that question.
Yeah.
And it sets up their relationship really well, but you're always waiting for it to come back around, because this is a movie about who wins and who loses.
Yeah.
In post-Reagan America.
Yeah, and in capitalism in a lot of ways.
Right.
Because in a lot of ways, this movie, like the drug trade, is sort of just a metaphor for the global economy.
Right.
You know.
And, you know, at the end of the day, Laurence Fishburne is a cop, but he's still a black man in America.
Yeah.
And that relationship that he has with the feds is always going to be defined by that.
Yep. Yeah. And it's like immediately, like it's always like he's not in the power position, even when they tell him that he is, you know. Yeah. All that stuff in this movie is so good, and I think Charles Martin Smith is like, just his face is perfect to embody what he represents in the movie.
Yeah, and
I think this is another casting decision where I'm like, I'm really glad that Bill Duke and his whoever the casting director was on this movie, I'm really glad that they got this guy, because I can't imagine a better face for this role.
Right. And he's another character actor, and I've normally seen him play meeker, kind of nerdier characters.
Yeah.
So I love that they like it feels like they're very intentionally picking this guy and just making him a sleazy, evil, disgusting piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he does a great job at playing that.
Yeah. This guy is like, yeah, he would be at home in like a RoboCop boardroom. Like he's like, he's like that type of shitbag.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, so Laurence Fishburne goes undercover. I really like the montage. This is an early moment of me sort of locking into the style of this movie.
Yeah.
Is this montage where there's like a hip hop beat. We're seeing Laurence Fishburne, like he's moving into his apartment. He's like, there's like money being exchanged. He's getting his new identity. There's we're seeing like bags of drugs. We're seeing like him interacting with Carver. And it's like all of these shots where it's like we'll see the same shot but from different we'll see it in different focus or different like it's zoomed differently.
Yeah.
I don't know the terminology, but and it's like it's changing with the beat. Like the image is like Laurence Fishburne's face like super close up and then a little farther out as the beat shifts and stuff. And it's like the visual style of this is like really, really cool. And it's like it almost feels a little bit like music video at times, in that it feels like the image is responding to the music as opposed to the score sort of complementing the image in a way that I like, in a way that I thought was really cool.
Yeah, there's a couple montages early on that are the drug dealing, making moves on the street sort of montages that have a rhythmic quality to them.
Yeah.
The music as well, it's a lot of hip hop. There's also funk in there.
Yeah.
And there's some tribal jungle type rhythms that are very much percussive, that they also sound a little bit like industrial too.
Mm-hmm.
There's times when there are like extended dialogue scenes playing and the music is playing through them at a pretty loud volume,
Yes.
to the point where it not quite drowning out the dialogue, but
it almost makes the dialogue feel like it's part of the music.
Yeah.
In the same way that the narration often does. Yeah, because they're like sort of almost at the same volume. So it kind of feels like when people are speaking over the beat, they're speaking as part of the music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a way that feels like Scorsese. Like this feels like the pacing of something like Goodfellas or Wolf of Wall Street.
I was gonna say that especially the pace reminded me of Wolf of Wall Street,
but in a way that I think is less like I feel like those movies, I've seen them way more than this, obviously, right, but they can be a little bit easier to enter. Deep Cover throws a lot at you with the editing and the music and the pace and the exposition here, where it's kind of jarring. This movie moves so quickly at almost like a breakneck pace.
Yeah.
That I could say it maybe moves a little bit too quickly, but it is not going to hold your hand the way that like a Scorsese film will.
Yeah.
Which is like it sounds like a shitty thing to say about Scorsese.
No, but I get what you mean. Like this movie kind of Scorsese like make sure that you get everything.
Yeah, the narration is like omnipresent in Goodfellas and Wolf of Wall Street, and that's not the case here.
Yeah, it seems like this movie is a little bit less concerned if it loses you. It's kind of like if it loses you, that's a you problem,
right?
You know, whereas it feels like Scorsese is like, all right, I want to make sure that you're getting all of this, you know. And this movie feels like way less concerned, honestly, with making sure that the audience understands the details. It's like it's much more invested in the emotional story than it is in like the actual like plot minutia. You know? It took me a while to figure out that Jeff Goldblum's last name, his character's last name is Jason, and his first name's David. So he has like a 2 first name, right? And partway into the movie, people were talking about Jason, and I was like, wait, who the fuck is Jason? And then it took me a second to be like, oh yeah, that's also Goldblum. That's just his last name.
Yeah.
So there's shit like that in this movie where it's like it does take you a second to catch up. But then when you do catch up, you actually like feel like you figured something out, and there's like that feeling of like accomplishment and discovery and stuff too. So I don't think it's a knock against the movie.
Yeah,
it's just like you will be punished for not paying close attention to this movie.
Yeah, the basic plot is that Russell Stevens is going undercover using the name John Hull to infiltrate this drug operation that is linked to a foreign diplomat.
Yeah.
And he has a couple key figures that he's trying to take down along the way.
Yeah.
That's all given to you by Charles Martin Smith in the early montages. But who's connected to who and how certain things link up and what plot events lead to other things, some of that stuff you're gonna lose as the movie goes on. But I think the narration does a good job of reminding you of being like, oh yeah, that's the other guy on the list that Laurence Fishburne has to take down.
Yeah.
And this is a huge vibes movie too.
It is.
So if you have that mindset of just like, we're just vibing with this thing.
If you just want to vibe out, you totally can.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like Laurence Fishburne is undercover. We sort of see some of the early stuff of him being like he's a crack dealer, basically. A cocaine dealer. It seems like he's maybe doing both because we see some crack pipes But then we also see some powder in this movie. It seems like it's just sort of an equal opportunity cocaine enterprise.
Yeah, and then we introduce synthetic cocaine later in this movie that's like super cocaine.
Right, which I'm like, is this a real thing? I don't think it's a real thing. I don't know. But yeah, and he's like living in this like it's like either an extended stay hotel situation or just like a cheap apartment building. And his neighbor across the hall is like a junkie with a kid. It was really reminding me of like her, just this whole dynamic in this extended stay hotel where there's like a junkie woman with a child was really reminding me of the Florida Project. Which obviously came out a long time after this movie, but I'm like, I wonder if Sean Baker saw this movie. But he immediately kind of has a bond with the kid. And we see that, like, we see that kind of the Russell Stevens coming out, even when he's undercover as John Hull, where he like wants to take care of this kid and make sure he's doing all right. Especially because I think it's pretty clear that he sees himself in this kid.
Yeah.
And is empathizing with him because of that, because he's in a similar situation that he was in.
Yeah, and early on, one of the kids, there's a kid on the street that's dealing.
Yeah,
that's part of this criminal underworld.
Yes,
and he gets shot by a dealer for
it's the guy, the jacked guy.
Yeah,
who pisses on Laurence Fishburne, and he like shoots this kid in the back like he is like a tough in his whole vibe is like he's a tough in like a Spider-Man cartoon. Like he's like a guy that Spider-Man would like kick in the face and then tie up with web at the beginning of his adventure before he like fights the Hobgoblin. Because this is just a guy who's like a comically evil street tough, where he's just like, I'm gonna shoot this 12-year-old in the back and then drive away in my red convertible laughing.
He sort of reminds me of like one of the gangsters in Predator 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like he's not. I mean, he's not a racist caricature of a Jamaican voodoo gang, but like similar.
Yeah.
Type of depiction of a criminal,
right? Just a guy who loves violence and evil,
is dressed like a maniac.
Yeah. But yeah, he shoots this kid in the back, and then like I do kind of like the moment where the kid gets shot in the back, and then some guy is just like robbing the kid's corpse. He's like going through his pockets and pulling out any money that this like teen had on him when he died. And this is when this is our introduction to Eddie. Because Eddie comes up as part of the crowd that's like looking on, and I do like that there's some member of the crowd who just says, like vamping a kid's dead corpse, like that's fucked up, right? And then Eddie comes up and is like drinking out of a flask, and he like sprinkles some of it like towards the body and just goes ashes to ashes, dust to dust, right? And that's our introduction to this character, who is sort of like a scuzzball and a junkie and a degenerate, but also like a poet. He's like a vagabond, he's like a rascal. I kind of like this character's energy because he's not entirely unlikable. There is some like charisma and magnetism about this guy that sort of makes it sad when he is killed, even though he's bad. Like, Eddie is bad news, but he is also, I think, part of what is alluring to John Hull / Russell Stevens about this world, because there is sort of a magnetism to this guy.
Right. There's a pull to him. He's a ball of charisma. And like he seems like a scumbag, which he is, but compared to the guys higher up on the food chain,
right? Like Felix and
right. He's kind of small. He's just a small fish,
right? And like we see that when Felix gets mad at him, because he immediately like goes into like groveling, simpering mode.
Yeah,
because this guy is not tough. He's an opportunist, but ultimately at the end of the day, he's like, this guy's got the spirit of like a poet and an artist. He doesn't have the spirit of a killer.
Yeah. It's a really interesting way to showcase like the dynamics of power and the scales of power in this world, because I mean, plenty of crime movies do that, where it's like the guy higher up on the food chain is even worse than the guy that they took out.
Yeah.
But with the way Bill Duke directs this movie, The violence feels shocking and disturbing and real, and the sadism of the people engaging in the violence feels real and shocking in a way that it differs from something like fucking Joe Pesci in Goodfellas beating the kid to death.
Right.
It's like it's a different. I think it's because the tone that this movie has is sort of bouncing between fantasy and reality, or a heightened stylized version of the world, and like a gritty, darker crime thriller. That the violence and the characters perpetuating it stand out.
Yeah, and sometimes those moments do feel a little absurd. Like with Eddie, there's the moment where he gets killed in a little bit, and it like where Felix beats him to death with the pool cue, and it's like because Eddie like lunges across the table and stabs Felix with the fork. And then Felix is like, well, why'd you do that? I was just joking. I was just kidding around. And then he starts beating him with the pool cue and like hitting him in the face. And it's like really brutal. But also there is like an element of like absurdity to the whole thing where like the way that this shakes out is not elegant or choreographed. It's like bizarre. Like this is just a bizarre series of events that lead to this guy like lying dead on this pool table, and it's like it's a charged and tense scene, but the tension never breaks in the way that you like, in a way that would be satisfying to you, so I kind of feel like you're still tense even after the violence has broken out.
It's not building up to it in the way that like Quentin Tarantino would.
Right, exactly.
It's not, the violence is not
a
cathartic. Release, it's not a payoff.
Yeah.
It's like it's definitely not cathartic.
Yeah. It's almost like the violence just continues ratcheting up the tension instead of being the break in the tension.
Yeah.
It's like instead of it being like, oh, finally the pool cue got swung, so now I can breathe. It's like, no, the pool cue got swung, so now I'm like holding my breath even more. Yeah.
Yeah, and Laurence Fishburne's reaction in that that scene is so good. Well, I mean, because again, like the tone and the tension in that scene kind of breaks a bit after he's like, "Hey, I was just kidding. Why don't you just go home?" And Laurence Fishburne is just sort of standing there, not really sure what to do.
Yeah,
and then this guy gets beaten to death with a pole cue, and he's still just kind of standing there, like unsure that this is even a real thing that's happening in front of him.
Right.
He's kind of dissociating from the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels more realistic, like of how that situation would probably play out.
Yeah, a lot of the violence in this movie, it is striking in how like unglamorous and like matter of fact and simplistic it is, right? It's like people just pull guns out and shoot each other, and that's the end of the violence. It's not a big choreographed set piece where people are taking cover and exchange. Like there's no firefights in this movie. It's like when a gun comes out, somebody dies, and then that's the end of it really fast.
And it's to bring it back to Scorsese, in a way that reminds me more of The Irishman, than it does Goodfellas, where the violence is very matter of fact in The Irishman. Yeah, and it's kind of a reflection, I think, of Scorsese's maturity as a filmmaker and commenting on, how he maybe glamorized violence in his previous films. I think Bill Duke very intentionally does not glamorize the violence in Deep Cover.
No, I think it is pretty much always like repulsive and alienating in a way that is like him making a statement.
Yeah.
With the violence in this movie. We were talking about reaction, Fishburne's reaction in the Eddie scene. To me, the big MVP of that scene and most of the scenes with the mob guys is definitely Sidney Lassek's performance as Gopher. Gopher is okay. I love a guy in a crime movie where you're like, the criminals are just keeping this guy around because they just like his vibe. Like,
forgot.
this guy doesn't do shit. He's not good at crime. They just keep Gopher around because everybody loves Gopher.
So this guy was in he's in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's what I know him from.
Yes.
Essentially playing the same character, like similar mannerisms.
No, you're right. You're
kind of like an effeminate voice. He's he's kind of dim-witted.
Yeah.
And like very emotional.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this guy's deal in this movie? And then he shows up at the end where it's like
He's
the
asleep in
trial.
court.
He's at the trial, and Russell Stevens is a cop. They brought him in. He's testifying at this trial.
Yeah.
And he turns around and he's like, "Hey, Gopher, play the tape."
Yeah.
And like Gopher's just still there.
Yeah. I love Gopher in this scene, in the scene where Eddie gets beat to death, because like Felix is just beating the shit out of this guy, and like Laurence Fishburne is like standing there stone-faced watching this, like contemplating all the choices that have brought him to this moment. And then Gopher's in the background being like, "Oh, stop it, Felix, enough. It's enough, Felix. Let him go. Oh, Felix."
That's exactly how he sounds. Spot on.
I love Gopher so much. Anytime Gopher's in a scene, I'm just like, that's my boy. I hope that if I ever had to resort to a life of crime to like make ends meet, this is the role that I would fill in the criminal posse. Is like, this is kind of just the dumb idiot that we keep around for fun.
Just the court jester.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'll do a little dance for you. I'll fucking. What? I'll you know what Gopher's role is? He's probably the guy who knows where the really good tailor is in Los Angeles that they're all getting their Gucci suits from, you know. But yeah,
so
fucking love Stephen Lassig in this movie.
So we skipped around a bit.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Essentially what happens is Stevens gets pinched while doing a deal with Eddie.
Yeah, because Eddie like sets him up.
Yeah, Eddie sets him up because Eddie's an informant.
Yeah.
And David Jason is an attorney and a drug dealer, and gets him off.
I do love Goldblum's character introduction in this movie, which is before he meets Laurence Fishburne in court. We see one scene with him before that, which is when he's at home with his wife and his kid, and he's trying to teach his kid math, like he's helping his daughter with her math homework. And I just love how pissed off he is that his daughter is having a hard time learning multiplication, and you can just see him like holding in his rage. This is a guy who later in the movie we will see has like once the valve is opened and he is able to just like exercise unmitigated bloodlust, he like has a real taste for it. So this is a guy who's like holding back some real darkness, and you see it from this very first moment when his daughter is like doing her math homework wrong, and he's like slamming the table and being like, "Fucking shit." My kid's an idiot.
Yeah. There's also a scene where I think Eddie introduces Russell Stevens, John Hull, to him, and Goldblum's immediately like, "This guy's a fucking cop."
Yeah.
And walks away.
Yeah.
But he does get him off, and then Barbosa confronts Eddie because he's an informant, and then beats him to death with a pool cue.
Yeah.
We also skipped over the scene of Belinda, who is the she's the addict in the hotel that Russell's staying at.
Yes,
trying to sell him her kid.
This scene is fucking wild.
It is.
Okay. First of all, Belinda, played by Kamala Lopez, who's I think most notably also in Doll Man. I think that's her biggest other, like, she's in Total Recall, but she's like an extra, and in some other stuff as an extra. But I think her other like main performance is in Albert Pune's Doll Man.
Stay tuned for Doll Man.
Yeah. But Kamala Lopez in this movie, first of all, I think she's great in this movie.
Yeah.
I think like, to the point where maybe my biggest gripe with this movie is not enough Belinda, because we check in with her one other time when she is dead, when she has Jane from Breaking Bad, basically. And And then but there's a couple scenes with her here at the beginning, and I was like, would have appreciated checking in on Belinda a little bit more, since we're already packing 2.5 hours of movie into a 100-minute bag. We might as well extend the runtime a little bit and give us a little bit more of Belinda and her kid. But so that's the first thing. I think she's great in this movie. I think her performance has a lot of pathos to it, despite her being like a character who you can't root for. You can't root for the junkie mom who is being a shitty parent. But at the same time, it's like, it's very clear that this is like not her fault necessarily. She's in a bad situation that has been imposed upon her by the society that she lives in. Like, America did this to her,
right.
you know? Also, completely separate from everything that I just said, let me also say, Kamala Lopez, Hachi Machi. I think she's very, very attractive in this movie, and I think it's crazy when Laurence Fishburne, after she's dead, is like, that's when I finally realized how beautiful she was. I was like, that's when you realized? Because the first time I realized is the first time she appeared on screen. But yeah, her trying to sell this kid to Laurence Fishburne for $3,000 is fucking wild.
It is like, it's this tightrope that the movie walks where it's fucking hilarious.
It's funny.
And also deeply tragic.
It's really sad.
And his reaction to it is great. Like everything, like, oh man, everything else he does in this movie. But, you know, especially because he knows that like he's engaging and in this world and like contributing to it. And contributing to cycles of violence and poverty.
Right.
And
like, he's dealing drugs and she is hooked on drugs.
Yeah.
So it's like, if not directly, he is like, if he's not doing this to her, he's doing it to people who are like her, which is like a thing that the movie puts a finer point on later on when her kind of arc concludes.
Yeah. And like your gripe about there not being enough Belinda, I'll go a step further and say the other primary female character in this movie is Betty, who becomes, she's an art dealer who becomes Russell Stevens' girlfriend. The women in this movie are underwritten and stereotyped a little bit too much, and there's not enough of them. It does make me wonder, along with just how like breakneck the pacing of this movie is, if there was a longer cut at some point and those roles were reduced. But like, also, it's just like in a movie that is about the Black experience, it's at least to me, which, you know, again, if it's not obvious, white guy, so take that with a grain of salt.
I was gonna say earlier, what's the difference between a white man and a podcaster?
Yeah.
A podcaster is the only one dumb enough to talk about this movie.
I guess so.
when there's no black people in the room. Anyway, sorry.
I did forget how much this movie dealt with that, though.
Yeah.
But it's disappointing and maybe not the best that like the two female characters in the movie, one of them is a junkie that is pretty one-dimensional,
right,
and then a girlfriend who barely has any screen time.
Yeah, well, barely has any screen time, but also sometimes when she's been on screen for a while, I did find myself, okay, Victoria Dillard as Betty. How do you feel about that performance?
I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion. She didn't leave a great impression on me one way or the other.
Because I feel like she's in... I actually am maybe inclined to disagree with you. I kind of feel like she's in the movie a decent amount. Like, I feel like a lot of this movie is her.
Okay, wait, let me back up.
Yeah.
Her first scene with Laurence Fishburne in the art studio.
She runs like a high-end art, she sells art.
Yeah.
And it's a money laundering front, but she's also legitimately selling high-end art pieces. So she's like a classy, cultured woman.
Yeah. There's they have like a back and forth where they're kind of sizing each other up.
Yes.
I think she does pretty well there.
I think
from there, I lose a little bit of interest in her.
Yeah. I like that scene. My So full transparency, Victoria Dillard is an actress who has like been in other stuff, but this is the only thing that I've ever seen her in. And I cannot get a handle on her from one watch. I feel like I have to watch this movie again to understand how I feel about this performance, because I felt like it was changing scene to scene whether I thought she was good or bad in this movie. Like sometimes her sort of giving very little in terms of emoting in this performance was working for me, and I was like, oh, she's sort of this like stony, kind of inscrutable, mysterious, sexy woman that he can't really get a read on. And then other times I was like, she's just wooden and bad. And it's like I didn't know which thing it was through to the end of the movie. And like I still like sitting here right now, I'm like, I don't really know whether I like this performance or hated it. And I know it's one of the extremes. I know I'm not in the middle on it, and I need to watch the movie again to understand whether I loved or hated her in this movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about where we are. Basically, Russell Stevens and David Jason start working together, and Jason reveals that he's developing this synthetic form of cocaine, and he's trying to
working with some ginger lab nerd.
Yeah,
who
he's
needs
trying
$5 million to make super coke.
he's trying to deal it on the side,
Yeah.
And take over the operation. And then they have the scene at the art store where they're setting up the money laundering.
Yeah.
There is the scene in here where he's David Jason's banging a black prostitute, and and he's like Laurence Fishburne gets him out of the room, and he's like, yeah, I love balling black chicks so much. And
yeah,
he's
why
like,
do I love balling black chicks so much? And he's like, I don't know, maybe it's like a power thing. And he's like, oh yeah, you think so? And he's like, yeah, like maybe like in a racist way.
Maybe you want a slave.
Right. Yeah.
And like it's a funny scene. Jeff Goldblum's fucking hilarious. Laurence Fishburne's great.
Anytime Jeff Goldblum is doing coked out acting in this movie, that is when he is like fully like in the Fly freak mode.
Yeah, he gets
where it's like, oh, this is like tense, weird, live little freak Jeff Goldblum.
And he gets progressively more coked out.
Yes, which I love.
Yeah, it's awesome.
When his like it is crazy that his eyes are so brown that sometimes they're yellow in this movie. Like so, they are so light brown that occasionally you're just like, those are like a wolf size. And the more coked out he is and the wider his eyes get, the crazier and yellower they are.
Yeah, during the car chase, he's like a coke monster.
I love him in this movie. He's so good.
I love that scene. I think it is also just like a really great setup for what their relationship is.
Yes. Right. And the thing that I think is so interesting about this dynamic is like, first of all, this is a movie written by two Jewish screenwriters and directed by a black filmmaker. And it is a movie about Jews and black people in America. That's very clearly textually. It's about there's a lot of stuff that this movie is about, but a couple of the things that it is about the Jewish experience of living in America and the black experience of living in America. And I think it's so key that the creative team behind this movie represents both of those viewpoints, because it's like there are moments where those identities converge and find common ground as oppressed people, and then areas where they diverge and are sort of have conflicting or competing interests or perspectives. And I think this movie is so interesting in the way that it plays with it. It was really reminding me of Angels in America by Tony Kushner, which handles similar material with the relationship between one of the a character who is Jewish and a character who's black in that play. And I was like, it's this is such interesting material, especially in the early 90s, coming out of the Reagan era and the AIDS crisis and stuff, when it's like marginalized identities were starting to be surfaced in American media for the first time, at least in popular culture, right? And it's just I think their dynamic is so interesting because they like and maybe even love each other, and that is very clear in the performances, but also they are constantly at odds with each other, partially because David cannot he's like not acknowledging his own racism and his own prejudices,
Right.
and his own privilege and power as like a white person, because he's so fixated on his marginalized identity, his Jewishness, that he also doesn't understand that like he's in a power position in society over John Hull, right? And so he sort of views them as equals. Like David Jason thinks he can say the N-word because he's Jewish.
Yeah.
Is sort of the vibe that he has. And it's like the interplay between the two of them is, I think, the most compelling thing about this movie.
And that's one thing that I forgot about this movie, is that like this is a two-hander between Laurence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum.
It really is.
I
Goldblum is
completely forgot about Goldblum.
Yeah.
Because this movie is so dominated by Laurence Fishburne's performance, and that's part of why I wanted to talk about it. Is it's like leading actor Laurence Fishburne. He is not a side character in this movie. He's not Morpheus. He's not the Bowery King in John Wick. He's not a side player, leaving an impression and creating an iconic role. This is Laurence Fishburne's movie.
Yeah.
But it is also him sharing the screen with Jeff Goldblum in such an unlikely pairing that really ends up working.
Yeah.
In a surprising way.
And Jeff Goldblum, I think, it seems to me that he is also the self-insert character from at least one of the authors of this screenplay. And the reason I say that is because one of the guys who wrote this movie also wrote the movie where Ryan Gosling is a white supremacist who's secretly Jewish. And it's like, it's very interesting to me.
I didn't know that was a movie.
It's very interesting. Yeah. There's I don't remember what it's called, but I was,
okay.
Yeah. But there's a movie where Ryan Gosling is a neo-Nazi who's hiding the fact that he's secretly Jewish, and he's just like, the reason that he's a white supremacist is because he's like a self-hating Jew who is estranged from his faith, which I think is not a thing that is not present in the character in this movie. And it's like, it's interesting to me. It feels like there is like some deconstruction of Jewish identity that the screenwriter, both of whom are Jewish guys, are doing through this character. It feels like the self-insert character is Jeff Goldblum in this movie for the guys who wrote it, and then it's like, and then like handing the creative reins over to Bill Duke as the director of this movie allows him to kind of breathe life into Fishburne's character, from his perspective. Yeah. It's I think all of this stuff is super interesting, and I'm also like not very well positioned to deconstruct it.
Yeah. I do want to stop for a second because we've said his name a lot, and I think we've like probably alluded to how we feel about him. But can we just talk about Laurence Fishburne?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Or, as I would like to say, the coolest man who has ever lived. This is a movie about many things. It is a movie about the Reagan era. It is a movie about systems of power in the United States. It's a movie about blackness and Jewishness. It's a movie about the underbelly of crime. It is about the moral struggle for a man's soul.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely about capitalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most importantly, I think it is a movie about how fucking cool Laurence Fishburne is.
It's also kind of a movie about how like doing drugs and hanging out at strip clubs is kind of awesome, I think. And because like that's sort of one of the things that his character discovers is it's like being a drug dealer is cool.
His outfits are nuts.
Yeah.
He starts getting more money, and he starts the movie in like a Canadian tuxedo and just fucking rocks the Canadian tuxedo.
He really does.
But
he's
then
got a couple patches on that jacket.
Yeah,
it's looking pretty good.
But then he gets his suits. He has these big aviators that he has on.
Hell yeah, dude.
And most importantly, this man is swinging his acting dick up and down this fucking movie for 2 hours.
He rules.
He is a force of nature in this thing.
Though how much you get out of just a shot of Laurence Fishburne looking kind of slightly off camera with his eyes halfway shut in this movie. Like, you can show me that image 1,000 times and it'll like resonate every single time, you know? I mean, he's like volcanic in this movie almost. Like, it feels like there is like a titanic force under the surface that is like not breaching the surface.
Right.
There's
he's giving like so much history to, like, pathos and history to this character,
which I think is so crucial, because the only thing you know about his character's past is that his dad died in front of him. Like, the only thing that you see of his past is the scene at the beginning, and then the rest of him growing up and becoming a cop and everything is totally not explored. And you just read all of the history of this guy's life like on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is his last movie where he's credited as Larry Fishburne.
Yeah.
He had done Boys in the Hood and Rumblefish, and of course Apocalypse Now was his first movie.
And let us not forget Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Yeah. He's also in Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Belushi. And I just want to see a version of that movie where we swap out Jim Belushi for Larry Fishburne. That would be a much better movie.
I think most movies would be better that have Jim Belushi in them if you replaced him with Laurence Fishburne.
Except for Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yeah, no, not that. That is the one and only Jim Belushi performance I've ever seen where I'm like, nobody could do this better.
Yeah. God, what if Laurence Fishburne was in Twin Peaks: The Return?
That'd be rad.
That'd be so cool.
I don't know what he would do, but, you know, you show me a scene where Laurence Fishburne is like, I don't fucking know. He's like,
look, that if he can make Megalopolis work, he could make some esoteric David Lynch bullshit.
Maybe
work.
you have like a scene where Evil Coop has to like go to the bank. Like, he's got like his evil bank account that he has like he's got the criminal underworld connection at the bank, and like maybe that guy's Laurence Fishburne. Like, he's like Laurence Fishburne is like the guy running Coop's like criminal underworld bank account, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I started watching Hannibal recently, and I got so much Larry Fishburne in that show. I didn't expect that.
This is why it is good that you are watching that show, because people who have not seen NBC's Hannibal do not understand that it is like up to 40% Laurence Fishburne at times. Like, you think that that's the Mad Mikkelsen and Hugh Dancy show, and it's like, no, Fishburne is in that show.
Right.
Yeah.
But thinking about it and thinking about all the roles that I've seen him in, this might be my favorite performance from him.
It's easily my favorite, I think, that I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, like, I think this man's great in everything.
Yeah.
Like, he's in fucking Batman versus Superman, and I hate that movie.
Yeah.
And he's still great in that movie.
But he's fucking colossal in this movie.
He commands the screen. This is his movie. Like,
this is a bona fide movie star performance.
Yeah.
Like, cannot look away from it, glues you to the screen, like, oozing charisma, like, you're following every single minute, like, muscular movement on his face. Like, movie star performance.
Yeah, and in a movie full of great performances and just great things, the greatest thing about this movie is Laurence Fishburne.
I completely agree. Yeah.
That's why he's the coolest man who's ever lived.
I gotta fucking piss again.
So the next big thing that happens is they decide they're going to kill that drug dealer, and he takes his dick out and pisses on him in the bathroom.
Yeah, although I do have to say that the reason they're going to kill him is because, like, Laurence Fishburne has some kind of associate. I think she's maybe selling drugs for him. She's one of his, like, street crew who's pushing drugs for him, who this guy murders like, in front of Laurence Fishburne, like, while they're in the car together. The reason that I had to go back for this is because Bill Duke, mad genius director, delivers one of the most fucking unhinged transitions of all time after this scene. So, like, this lady gets iced in front of Laurence Fishburne, right? And gets her brains blown out. And it's really upsetting and very violent, like we've talked about. And then like after that scene, the next scene is Laurence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum like against the trunk of a car talking about what they're going to do about it. But the transition between these two scenes is a guy who has been like green screen composited into the frame, who's like a unhoused guy with like a sleeping bundle under his arm, walking across the frame, and as he walks, the frame like wipes behind him. This is so crazy.
I don't want to burst your bubble.
Yeah,
because it is a very, very cool edit.
Yeah.
It also sort of reminds me of something that I've seen in a Saw movie. If you want,
well, the Saw movies came out after this.
True.
So this is breaking ground.
But if you want a bonkers transition, watch one of those fucking later Saw movies. They are in abundance, my friend.
The thing about this transition,
they're more interesting than the traps. There's one where it's like they're in one room, and then it whip pans to a guy opening a door, and it's in a new room in a new scene.
What the fuck?
It's like he opens the door into a new scene. It's
cool.
Fucking nuts.
Cool. That sounds stupid, and I really like it. The thing about this transition is it kind of doesn't look very good. Like, it's like the compositing is a little shoddy.
It takes a second for you to realize what's going on.
Yes, but also it is so ballsy that even though it like I give him like an A for effort and like a B- for execution on this one, but I'm like, God bless you, Bill Duke. You fucking had a vision and you gave it to us, you know? There's also like some Star Wars wipes in this movie too.
Yeah.
Which like anytime those happened, I was just like, man, we're not doing wipes like we used to. You know, and this is 1992, so this is maybe even a little late for wipes. And I'm just like, God bless Bill Duke for like taking big swings visually in this movie.
But I can't think of the last time we had wipes since Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And visually, since you mentioned it, the lighting in this movie, off the chain.
Yes. There are also, weirdly, a couple of moments in this movie where I was like, the lighting is making this shot specifically look cheap. The best example to me is like when we're in Fishburne's like new upgraded apartment, and it's him and Goldblum are having a conversation, and it's like shot reverse shot.
Yeah.
And anytime we're on Fishburne, I'm like, this looks great. And anytime we cut back to Goldblum, I'm like, the way that this is lit is making it look like Jeff Goldblum is sitting in front of a green screen, even though he's not. Like, even though I know that this is actual stuff behind him, it looks fake because the lighting of the foreground is so different than the lighting of the background. Like, it looks like there's a light like directly over the top of his head. And so like there are occasional moments where I'm like, this shot looks like shit and everything else looks magnificent.
Yeah, I kind of love the low budget feel of this movie.
Yeah.
They made it for $8 million. It's always bumping up against that. I feel like Bill Duke is really stretching his money though.
Yeah. You feel that. Yeah. Especially in the scenes where there are like on-screen acts of violence, which are always like, you can't see the seams at all. Like, there are not very many squibs in this movie, but when there are squibs, they are some of the best squibs I've ever seen.
The kid getting shot at the beginning, is interesting because it's like the guy pulls out the gun and it's at the bottom of the screen and he shoots it. So you don't get like because the gun's just off screen, you don't see the muzzle flash. You hear a sound effect. You also have don't have a squib rigged up to the kid, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of choppy in how the editing is, and I was wondering like if that was a budget thing, or if it was like Bill Duke doesn't want to show a kid get shot,
right?
In that explicit detail. So there's stuff like that in this movie where I wonder if some of the editing choices are because of budget or because of content. But for the most part, I think this movie looks really good, and the moments where it maybe doesn't, I think lends to its unique flavor.
Yeah. But anyway, so this scene, speaking of like this movie sort of punching above its weight visually in terms of budget, the scene in the club where Laurence Fishburne kills this guy is this is maybe the moment where I like really locked into this movie's visual style, specifically when he goes into the bathroom set in this movie.
Yeah.
And the way that Bill Duke is utilizing mirror shots in this bathroom scene, where like Laurence Fishburne like comes into the bathroom and there's like this big mirror on like one wall of the bathroom, and the whole bathroom is just black tile, like pitch black tile. So it's almost like he's entering this like void. And then there's like this big mirror on one wall. So we're seeing, in reality, we're seeing Fishburne's back, but then in the mirror reflection, we're seeing his face. And it's such a compelling image that we hold on for a really long time. And then Fishburne comes around the corner and sees the guy who he's here to kill at the urinal. And he's at the urinal and he is also reflected in a mirror. And it's just like the visuals of this whole sequence, I was just like, fuck, this is so inspired. Like it's really, really good.
Yeah, mirror shots are so technically challenging.
Yeah.
And to the point where I kind of forget about that. So like, I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't necessarily get that impression from that scene. But I remember the tile definitely. And I mean, the thing that I mostly get out of this scene is Laurence Fishburne gets
he does
PP'd
get
on.
pissed on. I really, so like there's a lot of I think intentionally the homophobia or like gay as an insult in this movie.
Yeah, we're throwing around some slurs and such.
I think the way that it's utilized in this movie is always like very tastefully done, where it is always like the guy who is calling somebody else the F slur or being like, "Oh, you want to suck my dick, you little pussy?" Like that guy's always in the wrong. Like that guy's always like an example of bad behavior, right? But in this moment, it is so. It's such like an interesting way to like ratchet up the tension of the moment and kind of like build to Laurence Fishburne's like dark turn, right? Where this guy is like, he's like taking a piss at the urinal. He like sees Laurence Fishburne show up behind him and he's like, "Yeah, I figured you'd be here to kill me." And he turns around and basically starts taunting him. And he was pissing a second ago and he like takes his dick back out and is like, "Do you want to suck it or do you want to drink?" And then just starts pissing on his shoes. And it's like such a crazy, weird, like over the top, masculine power move, you know? And like that's the thing that like breaks John Hull / Russell Stevens, right? And like then he shoots the guy twice in the chest, right? But it like this whole sequence, I don't know, it was like reminding me of like the type of like male dominance stuff that is like explored through just like performances and subtext that you see in my very limited experience with Michael Mann. It felt a little bit like Michael Mann shit, where it's like we're like big dogging each other in like really like weird and freaky and subtle ways, you know?
I was thinking Tarantino. It feels like a Tarantino moment.
Yeah.
We don't see the dick.
No, we do not.
And then when he gets shot and falls backward, the dick is back in his pants. So he did have the forethought to tuck his dick back in his pants.
He was like, "Oh shit,
as he was getting shot.
This is gonna be embarrassing. I'm gonna put my dick away. Otherwise, they're gonna think I fucking died doing something gay." Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It is. I was watching this scene and I was like, "Holy shit, this movie!"
Yeah.
This movie's fucking insane. I can't believe this movie's getting away with this.
Yeah. Also, you know,
it can like pull a scene like this.
Yeah.
That's simultaneously funny, and then also it's a very dramatic and dark turn for this character.
Right. Yeah, because this is Laurence Fishburne's kind of like fall from grace here, because he straight up murders this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is not attacking him. He's pissing on him, but he's like not a real threat in this moment, because like he's basically like, "What are you gonna do? Like you're not like." He's like, "What are you, comatose?" You know? And you get the impression that if Fishburne didn't escalate, this guy would probably let it go. He'd probably just like push past him and be like, "Fuck you, pussy," right? And it's like Fishburne makes the like Russell Stevens makes the decision to just cold-blooded murder this guy out of revenge, right? And it's like that's sort of the beginning of like his second half arc in this movie.
Yeah.
Is that he kind of becomes more and more obsessed with this idea of revenge, and it's revenge against. Initially, it's revenge for this guy murdering someone in front of him, but it turns into revenge against the institution that put him in this situation, which is the U.S. government, and revenge against David, right? And it becomes like anyone who has contributed to the suffering, not just of him but of his community, has to like atone, right? Like and ultimately I feel like he's externalizing his own guilt for the role that he feels like he has played in all of this.
Yeah, that's something that he's struggling with after the shooting, and it also signals the point where the criminal life starts becoming more appealing to him.
Yeah.
And he like their business takes a turn for the better, and he's able to afford the better apartment and the nice cars.
Yeah.
And the clothes.
Yeah.
So
I like the scene too with Carver where he's like, yeah, man, you're a successful drug dealer. Get a better apartment.
Yeah.
Go spend some money. Go fucking have some fun. You've earned it. You know?
And there is that scene where Russell Stevens is struggling with what he's done.
Yeah.
And Carver has the monologue about crack babies.
Yeah.
And that is, again, this character is a scumbag.
Yeah.
He's a scumbag from his first scene, and you know that he's a piece of shit. He delivers the monologue in a really excellent way that, like, adds a bit of humanity and depth to this guy, but it also showcases the type of propaganda and manipulation that was used to fuel the war on drugs.
Yes, right. Because what he's saying to Russell Stevens is he's like, the reason that you're doing this is because this drug, this substance, right, that is being brought in by foreigners, right? It's like got this very like conservative energy to it. He's like, this is destroying your communities and ruining a whole generation of your people, right? Yeah. And it's like the unspoken part is it's like if the fucking powers that be, if the American government actually gave a shit, they could do something about this, but they don't. Right? It's like, and ultimately like what we see with this character is like all of this is a political game, right? It's not about protecting the black community. It's not about the impact that drug addiction is having on black people in inner cities. It's about politics. It's about George Bush's golfing buddy being the enemy but then being the friend cuz he's president now or whatever, right? So all of that stuff I think in this scene, like this scene's a really good like I think it's sort of like one of the linchpins of this movie thematically, like you were saying.
Yeah. So, like we said, things take a turn, and Stevens becomes more successful.
Yeah.
He mentions that he's starting to be able to influence David Jason more. And they start having more success.
I love the power shift between these two characters that happens in the movie. It is one of my favorite things about this movie is seeing Laurence Fishburne's sort of like having to earn Goldblum's trust, and like initially Goldblum's like viewing him with suspicion and then being like, maybe I can get something out of this guy, maybe I can manipulate him, and then like slowly over the course of the movie they like transition to being friends, to having like genuine affection for each other, and then kind of transforming into equals, and then like the ultimate like sort of fallout of all of the like stuff that happens in the movie is like Laurence Fishburne starts like big dogging Goldblum.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love how earned that feels, and how like you get to track the power dynamic in their interactions throughout the course of the movie. It's like so compelling and interesting to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also just great conflict setup, because
and great character writing.
Because like as soon as they start getting more success, they set up the money laundering scheme. the very next scene is having a sit down with Barbosa.
Yeah.
And he starts playing the slap, the slap game with Goldblum and starts abusing him.
Well, before he does that, he is being pointedly anti-Semitic toward him.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a thing that it's very interesting that this movie focuses so much on, because a lot of this movie is about the Black experience in America and the experience of racism by the police and by institutions and stuff. But then there is this very interesting moment where kind of the anti-Semitism is sort of forefronted in this scene, and we see like how David Jason responds to that, and it is not dissimilar. It's very, I think, intentionally reminiscent. His reaction to being baited with anti-Semitism is very similar to the reaction of the cops who came before Laurence Fishburne in the interviews with Carver, right? Where he's asking them this very pointedly racist question, and they're like grabbing him by the lapels and being like, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" It's a really similar reaction that we get to see from Goldblum here, and I just think that like that's such like interesting parallelism.
Yeah, yeah, and as soon as they've achieved some success, they have this new conflict to deal with, and Russell is like, I knew that David was going to kill Barbosa.
Yeah.
He becomes this wild card now that he has to deal with.
Yeah. The slap game sequence is just so good too.
Yeah.
It's like so tense and like so loaded and charged, and you just like feel like, fuck, things are going to get so bad.
And a tense situation that feels reminiscent of the sort of influences that we talked about, but also completely unique.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if Bill Duke was influenced by Scorsese or by Spike Lee or De Palma, but it feels that way to me.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
But this he makes this scene his own, I think. Things escalate. There's a drug deal that Barbosa wears a wire to because he's actually an informant.
Yes.
And that leads to the car chase.
He's an informant, but his dynamic as an informant is really interesting because it's like he is an informant for a crooked cop. This guy that we've seen, Hernandez, who is the partner of this like really religious cop whose name I think is Taft.
Yeah.
So Taft is the guy who Taft and Hernandez are the guys who pinched Fishburne earlier when then like Goldblum gets him off. And he has like Taft has an interaction with Fishburne earlier where he's like talking to like, are you a religious man? Like, I really think you should think about like what all of this, what your choices are mean morally, basically. He's trying to like center John Hull morally. And then Hernandez, we've basically seen even before this scene as like kind of like the gruff, tough, like, he's like a bad cop, right?
Yeah.
And then we learn in this scene where he's interacting with Barbosa that this guy's basically a Nazi. Like Hernandez is basically a Nazi because like he's talking to Barbosa and he's like, "Hey man, like I need to like I need to bring some guys in, otherwise there's going to be suspicion on me because like obviously he's working with drug dealers." And Barbosa's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll get you 2 black people and a Jew." And he's like immediately, Hernandez is like salivating at the thought of being able to kill a Jew and incarcerate 2 black people. He's like, "Oh baby, yeah." And I love that like that's like an area that this movie feels comfortable exploring too. Is it's like, no, yeah, this guy's like a fascist. Yeah. And he's like, and he is making this unholy alliance with this like, foreign drug deal ring, right? Because he's basically like, yeah, what I really want to do is just like punish people who are not like me. This guy. What I'm saying is Hernandez would be a great ICE agent.
Yeah, he wouldn't get that $50,000 bonus though.
No, yeah, true.
They're not getting that.
Yeah.
Oh well. Womp womp.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe you should try not being a fucking
Yeah.
fascist bootlicking piece of shit.
Maybe don't sign up for the Nazis.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that.
Yeah, it turns out if you want to be in the SS, maybe you don't deserve a $50,000 signing bonus for that.
Don't worry, they're fucking you over too.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so there's this setup for where basically Barbossa is gonna give the cops John Hull, Laurence Fishburne, and Goldblum and Betty. But Fishburne knows about it because obviously he's an undercover cop, so he's got the intel. And Carver specifically tells him like, "Hey, like I am ordering you to not interfere with this operation."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Fuck you, these are my friends." Because at this point he has like a romantic thing going on with Betty. And also we've seen that he harbors some genuine affection for Jason as well. And so he's like, "I'm not just going to let my friends get killed. Like I'm going to do what I can to stop this." And so yeah, he like turns the tables because he knows that Felix is going to be wearing a wire, and he's basically like, this guy's a fucking narc. And they like steal the limo. There's a cool car chase.
Yeah, Hernandez steals or grabs a rifle from Taft and starts shooting.
And
And
Taft
blows
is like,
the
the fuck is
operation.
wrong with you, bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But them hijacking the limo is awesome.
It's cool. This car chase is really cool.
Yeah.
There's some cool stunt driving. We get to see this limo like slam into a couple police cars for real, which
There's
is really
the
cool.
there's the tunnel
Yeah.
from Terminator.
Yes.
I
I
don't-
thought it was the same tunnel.
It's I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
it's the tunnel in LA that they used for the car chase in Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rad. And
This is
Goldblum's-
right. This is where Goldblum is a coke demon.
yeah, Goldblum's in the back of this limo.
He is like
screaming his head off.
he's like terrorizing Barbossa in like in such like his vibes are so rancid in this scene where you're just like you get the impression that he doesn't know what his plan is. He's basically like, I want to fucking kill this guy, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm just going to like make him jump out of the limo. And then like that doesn't work right away. So he shoots him in the hands. And then he's like, okay, now fucking jump out of the limo.
Yeah,
Like,
now then he throws him out of the limo.
oh my God.
And this dummy gets fucking plastered by this cop car.
This dummy getting absolutely eviscerated. Just fucking, this dummy eats shit. And it is like, oh God, it's so glorious. This is one of the best dummy obliterations that I feel like I've seen in a while. like as much as I love the dummy getting run over in The Craft, this is like 1,000 times better.
It was a great little burst of endorphins.
Oh
It was
my
just
God.
like, oh, watching that dummy. It flips head first when it hits the police car. So like I think he's like it's like he's sort of like on his knees getting back up.
Yeah.
And then the car hits him.
Yeah.
And his head goes onto
man.
the hood of the car and he flips over. It's awesome.
It's so cool. He's just ragdolling. I love it so much. Yeah, man. Yeah, so Barbossa's dead. And they get away, but basically like after this moment, Fishburne has kind of had his whole reality shattered.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like he thought he could trust the institutions. He was like, you know, Carver he is a difficult person, but he represents an authority that like he felt like he could get behind as a cop, right? And then he was sort of betrayed by that. And then like also he is feeling unstable now in associating with David, who has clearly gone off the deep end and has like this weird bloodlust thing going on now.
Yeah, he thinks that he's going to try to kill Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, David specifically says he's going to kill
Yeah.
Betty. Like Betty gets out of the car and David's like, she knows too much. We have to kill her. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we start to see like John Hull which is really kind of, I like that the persona sort of starts taking over. Like, he's kind of not Russell Stevens anymore for a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, we see him getting more and more isolated, right? And like, Betty is kind of the only person that he can go to. There's like the scene where he goes over and she like has him at gunpoint and is like, "You're here to kill me," and he's like, "No, I don't want to kill you. I just want to be with you because I know they're going to come for me and I don't want to be alone when that happens," you know? And I really like that. Also, I think before that, he has his showdown with Carver, where Carver basically is like, "You went rogue, I'm bringing you in," and tells him to give up his gun. And then Fishburne, like, kind of beats him up and it holds a gun to him and is like, "Tell me what the fuck is going on."
Yeah, it's around here.
Yeah.
And Carver reveals that the State Department doesn't want anyone to touch
Right.
Guzman.
Political headwinds changed, and
Yeah.
now instead of not liking Guzman, we like him now because we want to install him as the head of state to whatever vague Latin American country he's from.
Yeah,
You know?
they probably say, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it might be Venezuela, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a thing where like, oh yeah, when you started this mission, we didn't like this guy, but now we like him again. So all of your work has been a total waste.
Yeah.
But
But,
now we have to protect him because George Bush golfs with him or whatever
Right.
the fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
But Jason and Stevens get kidnapped by guys who work for Gallegos, who's the next guy up on the chain, and Gallegos is basically like, "You guys have inherited Barbosa's debt."
Yeah.
Now,
I really like this performance, by the way. The guy who plays Gallegos, he's like doing kind of like a real scenery chewing, like big ostentatious villain performance, and I fuck with it.
Yeah, he's not in the movie that much.
Yeah.
And I think he maybe leaves a little bit to be desired after the guy who plays Barbosa.
Yeah.
Because he leaves such an impression with a few of those scenes.
Yeah.
But I like he's got this black outfit with this like cape.
Yeah.
He's monologuing to them in a cemetery.
Yeah.
And being like, you guys owe me $1.8 million.
Yeah.
For
and
Barbosa's debt.
He also kind of has this like not dissimilar to Gopher. He sort of has this kind of like effete, like flamboyant affect to him.
Yeah.
Which I think is deployed in a way where it actually makes him like more sinister, which I think is really fun. Not in like a homophobic way. It's just like there is something theatrical about him that is unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically he's like, "You have 3 days to get me $1.8 million. And Fishburne at this point has like, he's fallen out with Carver, so he quit being an undercover DEA agent. He's like quit the cops. And he's like under all of this pressure where he's like, gotta find this money. And he just like is like, fine, like I'm gonna just start. If you want me to be a drug dealer, I'll be a fucking drug dealer.
Well, he starts doing drugs and drinking.
Which he didn't do before.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a really interesting moment in his character journey, where it's like we're like 20 minutes from the end of the movie, and he's at his lowest point yet, which I think is cool. That the movie has the balls to be like, no, yeah, like he's not going to end this movie in a better place than when he started. You know, this is not that kind of character journey where he's like growing and learning. He's like being broken down, and his trust in institutions is being destroyed, and it's like having like a material impact on his life and his health and his
and the morals that he believed in,
Yeah.
and the decisions that he made to try to lead a different life than his father.
Yeah.
And now he realizes
Right.
that he's more similar to his father than he ever
Right.
thought.
He's Russell Stevens Jr., right? He inherited all of the shit that his dad left him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we have to bring him so low.
Yeah.
To make his redemption work at the end.
Yeah. And the lowest moment is probably when he goes back to the apartment to check on the kid, and he finds that Belinda has overdosed and died.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like looking at her dead body and kind of like reckoning with his involvement in this world, and sort of realizing that like maybe he didn't sell drugs to Belinda, but he sold drugs to other people who have overdosed and died and left kids behind and stuff, and being like, like what am I doing? You know?
Yeah. And this comes after they pay Gallegos. They pay him less because they realize that Barbosa owed him less than what they told him.
And basically what they realize is Gallegos is planning on killing them no matter what. He's just trying to milk them for however much he can before he kills them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like this. It's a scene it's in a movie theater.
Yeah.
And Laurence Fishburne cracks open the suitcase and starts shifting the money around and then pulls out a gun and lights him up.
And just shoots him.
And it's rad as fuck.
Yeah.
And then finds out that Belinda's died, and then he starts reckoning with his choices in a much more serious and dramatic way.
Yeah.
And I think this is he tells Betty to get out of the country, and he has a moment with Taft on the
street outside of Belinda's apartment. Yeah. And this is where Taft is basically like sort of fighting for Russell Stevens' soul, right? He's basically like, this is poisoning your humanity, what you've been involved with, right? And there's even a moment where like Taft says, it's right after Laurence Fishburne does the rhyming thing. Taft says, "You and me are the same," right? And it's like a moment where just the subtext of the movie just becomes text. And it's like, yes, like what the movie is telling you is that like Laurence Fishburne and by extension, black men in America, but also like poor people in America and like basically people who aren't in control of the systems of power have like two options, which is like the Russell Stevens Sr. path, which is like despair and selfishness and self-destruction, right? Or the Taft path, which is like sort of a righteous and maybe naive and empty, but ultimately like optimistic, like hope, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and so those are the two paths. And like Taft is offering him the path and basically being like, I can be your dad instead. Like you can follow my example.
Right.
Instead.
He's a spiritual guide.
Yes. Yeah.
To Russell.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is I really like this scene. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And also the lighting and the way it is shot is gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
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 It's great nighttime photography, by the way, which this movie, we haven't said, is full of. There is nary a day for night to be found here. When it is nighttime on a street, god damn it, we are shooting at night and it is fucking gorgeous.
And I'm glad you brought up Michael Mann because there is the way Bill Duke shoots Los Angeles at night is not too dissimilar to the way that Michael Mann shoots LA at night.
Yeah, this is also like, not for nothing, like I haven't spent a lot of time in LA, but you can viscerally feel LA as like a presence in this movie in a way that like even as a person who's not super familiar with the area, I was like, this, you can feel the specificity of the location in this movie in a way that I really like.
Yeah, it becomes a character.
Yeah, it feels like a really LA movie.
Mm-hmm.
So then like the last kind of big thing here is the shipyard, because like Gallegos is dead and David and Russell are like, okay, like there's only one more big dog to get. We got Gallegos. We got to get Guzman. And they like capture like a truck with like $100 million that belong to Guzman in it. There's the great scene where Laurence Fishburne has just gone full like drug kingpin and is intimidating one of Guzman's henchmen and like threatening to burn his eyeball with a cigarette and shit. I love when the guy spits in his face and like Fishburne gets like really offended by that. It's great. It's that whole shit is really cool. His costume in that scene, he like is now dressing like a drug kingpin. He's got like the big long coat and everything. It's so cool. But yeah, so they like set up the thing at the shipyard where Guzman's going to come and they're going to bargain. They're going to be like, we'll give you your money back if you agree to sell our synthetic coke and shit. I love the whole sequence. I love the location. This shit is also good.
Yeah. There's a great monologue from Jeff Goldblum where he's like, there's no more There's no more Hispanics. There's no more Japanese. There's no more races. It's
Yeah.
just rich people and poor people, and we're 3 rich people.
So we're on the same
We're on
team.
this- yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Which that is a moment where I feel like it's like, okay, like the sort of critique of capitalism, and especially like the dominance of the American economy that has led the rest of the world to sort of embrace unfettered capitalism, right? That I have been picking up in this movie is now text, right? Him saying that bit, basically being like, hey, like race and borders don't matter anymore. What matters is we have hoarded resources, and that makes us allies with each other, and the enemy is the poor.
Yeah.
Right? Is like it becomes text, and you're like, yeah, like great. But what I thought this movie is saying is what this movie is saying.
Mhm.
Which is that power corrupts and nobody should have this much wealth.
Right. Taft has infiltrated the deal and gets captured by Guzman's guys.
Yeah.
And
Guzman just kind of strolls out of the
Yeah.
situation because he's like, I'm a diplomat. I got diplomatic immunity. You can't do shit.
right.
He's like, we're going to dinner. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Guzman leaves. David shoots Taft, and Stevens runs down the ramp to check on him. And this is the thing you've been waiting for. This is, you want to see Russell Stevens be redeemed, and you want to see that part of the good side of his personality triumph over the corruption of the criminal lifestyle. And he starts radioing for backup.
Yeah.
And David
Yeah.
Jason's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I love when he's like, I need an emergency ambulance, code 3. And Jeff Goldblum's like, code 3? What the fuck are you talking about, code 3?
And he's like, I'm a fucking cop.
Yeah.
And-
Right. And then I like that David's response to learning that he's a cop is like, it doesn't fucking matter
Yeah.
that you're a cop. There's $500 million for the taking here. Like, even if you're a cop, you have to understand the allure of that, right?
Right.
And I like that he's like, David is still like, we're friends, we're partners. Like, I know you. You can just get in this truck with me and we can leave.
Yeah, and the devil on the shoulder kind of
Yeah.
aspect of it. He's like, I've seen. He says something to the effect of like, I've seen you get a boner for power and money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he knows that is a true part of who this guy is.
Well, and Taft is appealing to Russell's soul.
Yeah.
Right? Because he is like, Taft is like presented as a devout Christian, right? And is like, his morality is rooted in a religious belief system, right? And David has a line that I really like where he's like, forget all the Judeo-Christian bullshit. The people who taught us those values are the people who have enslaved us, right? And so he's basically like, he's appealing to your immortal soul. The people who told you you have an immortal soul are the people trying to keep you down. The reality is the $500 million that's in this truck,
Mhm.
right? Which is like a really like, it's a compelling argument,
yeah.
right? And I like that it like, you understand how conflicted Russell is in that moment, because it's like, yeah, there's a part of David that's like not wrong.
And it,
You know?
and David turns around to go get the truck, and it draws out this moment where Russell's still trying to save Taft's life, and Taft eventually bleeds out.
No, well, Taft doesn't bleed out. David shoots
Oh, that's
him.
right. Yeah, David
Yeah.
shoots him again.
He shoots him, I think, in the head.
Mhm.
Like because Taft is like struggling for life, and Russell's not going to leave him as long as there's still a chance to save him. I think partially because he's trying to save his dad,
Yeah.
right? And then David shoots him in the head, and that's when and immediately Russell starts saying, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that, right? And then he says, like, you're under arrest, and he starts reading him his rights.
Right. He chokes out the words, "You have the right to remain silent."
Yes.
And it takes such an effort from him, and it's such a cathartic moment because he's been brought so low,
Yeah.
and you want to see him be redeemed. And
Yeah.
I think I was surprised at how moved I was by that moment
Yeah.
watching it this time.
Yeah. And also I think crucially, the moral redemption is not him embracing being a cop again,
Right.
Because this movie is very critical of cops and of institutions. I do not think this movie is like propaganda at all.
No, I think
Right?
I mean it's very clearly that like the whole game is rigged.
Yes. And what that moment is more about is that he is not picking up a gun and shooting David in retaliation. He is trying to exercise justice.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like that is the moral redemption of this character, is that instead of revenge, he is opting for justice, which is a different thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then he does shoot him. Anyway.
He does. Well, David shoots at him first, though.
Yeah.
And that moment is really like Western, which I really like. It's like they both have their guns ready, and they both kind of draw and shoot at each other simultaneously. And David misses, and Russell shoots him in the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so we cut to there's like the trial later, right? Because like, so Russell tried to send Betty away with money to get out of the country and escape the whole thing. The feds caught Betty, and they're using her as like a bargaining chip.
Yeah.
Where it's basically like, you have to testify saying that the DEA is great and Carver did a great job. And if you do that, Betty gets to walk free. But if you don't do that, then she's going to go away for, decades.
And you have to like minimize your role in the investigation and
Yeah.
emphasize the DEA's
Yep.
involvement and all of that.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, let me get all of that in writing so that it's legally binding, and
Yeah.
I'll have my lawyer look over it. And then he testifies in front of this like Senate committee or whatever and says all the stuff that he's supposed to say. But then he pulls out the ace in his sleeve, which is the tape that Gopher has, and puts it on. And it's basically showing that Guzman is part of this, that he's like the ringleader of this whole big drug operation.
Right.
Which is bad for Congress because they're trying to install this guy as the leader of like Venezuela or whatever, right?
I do have to say that these sort of reveals in movies where it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to expose this person for actually being involved with the criminal scheme.
Yeah.
They kind of ring a little hollow these days.
Yeah,
feel a little unrealistic.
Right. Like when thousands of emails have been released to the general public showing that the president of the United States is a pedophilic sexual predator, and he still is just the president. Like nobody's doing fucking anything about it. Yeah, right. Yeah, it almost seems like the smoking gun doesn't mean jack dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little far-fetched that justice is served in a
Yeah.
in a crime drama.
Yeah, because it's like, like fucking Bill Gates was like molesting 15-year-olds or whatever, but it's like, that guy's still not in jail. When are we going to put him in jail?
It is funny that Donald Trump maybe blew Bill Clinton. That's funny.
Yeah, it is. I really hope that of anything in the files, that's the thing that I hope is the most true. Is that blowing Bubba means that Donald Trump sucked Bill Clinton's cock.
Yeah.
And is thereby oral Eskimo cousins with Monica Lewinsky.
You think they traded notes?
Who do you think gave the better sloppy topping
Right.
to Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky or Donald Trump? I don't know. Donald Trump kind of has like the George Lucas like frog waddle going on. I bet you can go deep on that dude's throat.
Yeah, that's. You're right. Yeah.
I bet he's got a lot of room back there.
Anyway,
Fucking vile. We
Good.
live in a hell country run by fucking perverts and deviants.
yeah,
I think we should bring back burning people at the stake.
I think the horrors are inescapable, but occasionally there's something funny that shows up. And
You know what is funny? Darkly funny is the fact that the more of the Epstein files are released, the more clear it is that Stephen Hawking was probably just a fucking Epstein sex pervert. And a thing that the Podmaster has pointed out multiple times is that means Epstein Island was ADA accessible, which is just a very funny thing to think about.
I'm also just thinking about him.
It's like, here's the Hogan full of fucking 16-year-old, sex trafficking victims that we're all going to sexually abuse. But there's
There's
a
a
wheelchair
wheelchair
ramp,
ramp, yeah.
and like a push button that like opens the door so that Stephen Hawking can get in
I'm
there.
just imagining him being like, age is just a number. Did he feel anything down there?
He cheated on his wife with his his rehab nurse. Yeah. So
like
I assume
post his illness.
Yeah.
So his dick was working.
I think
fine.
his dick worked. Yeah.
Okay.
I think his dick worked.
Okay.
Anyway,
the end of Deep Cover.
Yeah.
He goes to the grave of Belinda with her son.
Yeah.
And leaves the blood money given to him by his father on the grave.
Yeah.
And it blows away. And I thought that was a very nice poetic
That
image.
moment also had me thinking about John Woo.
Well,
I was like, that's a Woo-esque visual.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's basically it,
That's
right?
Yeah,
that's the last scene is the graveyard because it pulls out and there's like a statue of like, I don't think it's the Virgin Mary. Maybe it's like an angel or something, but she's covered in pigeon shit. So it's sort of like, a visual encapsulation of a lot of what the movie is, which is like, there's sort of this beautiful, there's like beauty and purity, and there's also just like the dark reality of American life layered on top.
Yeah, and he's monologuing that he kept $11 million of his money.
Yes.
And is wondering what to do with it.
Right.
Because
I like the thing that he says, right? Because he's like, if I keep it, then I'm a criminal.
Yeah.
And if I give it to the government, like that's obviously wrong because I know that they're all corrupt, right? And so like what's the right choice? And I like that the last line I think of the movie is what would you do? Right? Because he's basically like the whole movie has sort of been a moral question about like how can you exist ethically in this America, right? And it's a question that the movie leaves open for you to think about.
Yeah. That's Deep Cover.
Yeah.
Directed by legendary character actor Bill Duke.
Yeah,
and
the great Bill Duke.
Our greatest living actor, Laurence Fishburne.
Yeah.
I become more and more sure of that opinion with each passing day.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. David, thanks for making me watch this movie.
Yeah.
Is it the greatest movie ever made?
Justice. First time I saw this, I wasn't entirely sure what to make of it. And watching it this time, I wasn't entirely sure what to make of it either, because it is so stylistically unique while also wearing its influences on its sleeve. It reminds me a lot of many movies that I enjoy from great filmmakers, but it has such a strong identity. And this movie does not hold your hand. This movie throws a lot at you, but if you can keep up with it, I think it's a really rewarding experience because, like, Bill Duke just directs the fuck out of this thing.
Yeah.
He directs with so much confidence in the way he paces this and the way he edits this, the way he lights this, the shots that he chooses. This movie is such a sensory, immersive experience because of Bill Duke's direction.
Yeah.
That he's, he had directed films up to this point, but he's directing with the kind of confidence that I would expect from a veteran.
Yeah.
On top of that, I just think it's a really entertaining crime thriller. It has all the hallmarks of what you want from a crime thriller. But it also has that unique tone and atmosphere that is influenced by hip hop, influenced by blaxploitation and hood films, influenced by film noir. It's such a great little combination of those genre influences. And it's also so thematically dense and interesting in a way that I didn't pick up on the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
It has so much to say about capitalism and corruption and the systems of power that govern America and the boiling over of racial tensions in the early 90s. This was released around the same time as the Rodney King riots.
Yep.
Like the things that this movie was talking about, those were in the air in America at this time. And because of that, I think it's been underrated and underappreciated and should stand along the work of a black director like Spike Lee, who was able to tap into those themes and tap into the cultural zeitgeist surrounding what it meant to be black in America in the early 90s. Also, it cannot be understated. It cannot be overstated. Excuse me. How fucking good Laurence Fishburne is in this movie.
Right.
If for nothing else, you watch this movie for Laurence Fishburne.
Right.
And if that's all you get out of it, then you still got 70% of what makes this movie awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was so impressed with this on this second viewing. I want to watch it again, right now.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always happen with movies on this podcast. I think the pacing is maybe a little bit too breakneck at points. It is throwing a lot at you. It can be difficult to keep up. The plot gets a little twisty, and some aspects of the plot are maybe a little unrealistic, a little heightened, but I think that does contribute to the atmosphere and the unique flavor of this movie. And I don't love how the female characters are depicted, which are maybe a couple of things holding me back a little bit, but altogether, I do think this is the greatest movie ever made. I fucking loved it.
Nice.
I was so impressed with it on this watch. I was just like, I don't even know what was wrong with me the first time. Because now I'm like, this movie's fucking awesome, and I need to watch more Bill Duke movies.
Yeah.
Justice is deep cover the greatest movie ever made.
David, I really enjoyed the experience of watching this movie. It is like, you're maybe more well versed in the crime thriller than I am. I've seen some like Scorsese movies and stuff, but I feel like this is not a genre that I have done a deep dive in the same way that you have. So some of the influences of this movie were maybe less apparent to me. But a thing that I did pick up on is that this movie is like pretty singular. Like, it has like a very specific singular artistic vision, despite its myriad influences sort of popping up in ways that are pretty apparent. The visual style of this thing is really compelling. There were moments in this movie where like there were shots that were reminding me also of like Kubrick, right? In a way where it's like, this feels so hermetic and controlled and specific. Like every single thing that's in the frame seems so intentionally placed that it's like, it feels like there is nothing here that is being left to chance. It feels like this is like a very a holistic artistic vision by a filmmaker, right? And then there are moments in this movie that don't feel like that at all, that feel a little bit more like ragged and scrappy and low budget. And the balance between those things, just like the balance of tones in this movie, just like the balance of all the thematic elements, is just so perfect. It feels like such a perfect blend of different styles of filmmaking, of different like narrative styles, between like the interiority of the performances and sort of the poetic ostentatiousness of the narration. It just feels like this is a movie that is like balancing on a knife's edge and doing disparate things, but all of them work.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's like the magic of this movie. Sort of the thing that makes it feel like a singular object is the fact that it is doing so much and all of it works,
Yeah, and it feels like you could go back to it and get different things out of it each time.
Totally. Yep.
Like if like there's so much stuff that we didn't touch on. If we like went back to some of the poetic elements of the dialogue, some of the larger themes about capitalism and stuff, there's just like, I completely missed the whole like Jewish experience aspect of this movie watching it this time.
Yeah. But this is one of those movies that, like, if you watched it a dozen times, you could have a dozen different takes on it.
Yeah.
And that's such a delight to engage with a piece of art that's like that. The things that I like don't love about this movie are pretty minor. I do agree with you about the treatment of the female characters, about how maybe the women in this movie are a little underwritten and not as three-dimensional as I would like them to be. And also, sometimes the cheapness of the movie is like, it's cheap in a way where I'm like, oh, this feels like a low budget exploitation movie. This is cool. And then other moments, one that I didn't call out is in the opening scene where he watches his dad get killed. The snow in that scene is some of the least convincing cinematic snow I have ever seen.
Yeah, you're making a good point.
It looks like ripped up pieces of toilet paper. I'm like, has Bill Duke ever seen snow before in his entire life? Or is he just guessing what snow looks like? So there are moments like that sort of are like maybe low budget or cheap in a bad way, but those are pretty few and far between. Like, I think by and large, this movie does a good job of stretching each dollar to its limit and also just like delivering incredible performances from some great actors. Jeff Goldblum, like, we talked about Fishburne, and I completely agree with your take on Fishburne in this movie. I think he's like transcendent. I also think Goldblum is like, this is maybe my favorite Jeff Goldblum performance. Like,
yeah,
it's either
one
this,
of his best.
It's this or The Fly for me.
Yeah,
it's one of those two, and I love him in this movie. He is such like a weird, perverse, evil, but also empathetic and sympathetic, tense greaseball freak, and I love seeing him do that. I love the scene where his wife is trying to get through to him and being like, you have a family that loves you, you don't have to do this, and he's just like sitting on the couch staring straight ahead being like, I have to get more money, I have to get more power. And then like at the end of the movie where he's wearing the black leather trench coat and his hair is all slicked back and he looks like a fucking school shooter.
His wife is a fucking smoke show, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I do not know why this guy's banging prostitutes.
He should not be stepping out on this lady. He doesn't know what he has.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it just all of the wonderful little details of this movie. My boy Gopher is a delight to watch anytime he's on screen. I had a great time with this. It is a dense text that you can mine endlessly. And yeah, I think it's the greatest movie ever made.
Cool.
Yeah. I had a phenomenal time.
I'm glad that
Deep
we
Cover.
both fucking loved it this time.
Yeah. It's great movie. And if you haven't seen Deep Cover, which maybe you haven't because this one doesn't have like necessarily the cult following that movies like this sometimes get.
Yeah.
You should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
It's on Tubi right now for free. You
Oh,
can
it is?
watch it. Yes, I watched this on Tubi.
Wonderful.
I watched this on Tubi and on my computer, and my ad blocker in Google Chrome was doing its job, so I watched this on Tubi ad free.
That's awesome. That I did that with Mulholland Drive
phenomenal.
because I was like,
viewing
I would
experience.
love to watch Mulholland Drive on Tubi for free, but I cannot stand the idea of being interrupted by a Liberty Mutual commercial in the middle of this.
Yeah, you don't want to see Limu Emu when fucking Naomi Watts is experiencing fucking misogyny at the hands of the Hollywood studio system.
Yeah, it would sort of kill the vibe if she was doing her sad masturbation and it cut to a fucking DraftKings ad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Naomi Watts is doing her fucking humiliating, debasing audition, and then it just cuts to like fucking Liberty Bibberty. Yeah, anyway, great movie. Watch Deep Cover.
Deep Cover
It's
whips
awesome.
ass.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the podcast that we have done for you.
Yeah.
Please give us a follow if you haven't, and follow our social media at TGMEM_podcast. Send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com and recommend us to your friends. Leave us a review, all that shit. We appreciate your support so much.
Yep.
Justice, what are we watching next week?
Next week, David. So we took the first week of February off, but our first film of February was by a black filmmaker, Bill Duke, and I figured it's Black History Month.
Oh, okay.
Let's keep the black filmmaker thing going.
Sure.
We didn't plan this, but I'm just deciding that we're gonna keep it going. And so next week we're going to be staying in black filmmaker territory. We're also going to be staying in 90s movie territory because we will be watching the film Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight.
What the fuck?
From 1995, directed by Ernest R. Dickerson, starring Billy Zane and William Sadler and Jada Pinkett Smith. CCH Pounder's in this movie.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. This is a movie. The reason that I picked this is because I got in my head, I was like, yeah, we should keep the Black filmmaker thing going for Black History Month. And I was like, oh, I could watch maybe Nia DaCosta's first feature film because she's been in my head because of Bone Temple. We could do a Spike Lee movie. And then I was like, I've been hearing a lot about Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, and specifically a review that has been living in my head rent-free ever since I saw it is Angelica Jade Bastien's Letterboxd review of this movie, which is 5 stars. And Angelica Jade Bastien is one of my favorite film critics. Read her work in Vulture. She's great. And I was like, if Angelica Jade Bastien thinks this movie is a masterpiece, this is probably worth seeing. So we're going to be watching Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight.
Okay. For a podcast where like the criteria is basically any movie,
yeah,
you could have given me 20 guesses and I would have guessed that.
It's been a while since we did a horror movie in earnest, too.
True.
It's probably been since Halloween, because we did Anna and the Apocalypse, but that's more of a musical comedy than it is a straight-up horror movie. And we did Ravenous, but that's maybe a little bit more of like a thriller than a horror movie. So, I figured we were maybe not too close to other horror movies to just go straight back to Horror Town.
So I guess join us next week with Billy Zane and the Crypt Keeper.
Yes.
For
Ernest R. Dickerson's Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight.
Until then, we love you guys so much, and as always, later, dipshits!
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Greatest Movie Ever Made. Please remember to leave us a rating and a review, and to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. We appreciate you supporting the show and spreading the word. Tell your friends to listen, tell your enemies to listen, tell your mom to listen. If your neighbor has an unsecured Bluetooth speaker, connect to it and play an episode. You can follow us on social media at TGMEM_podcast. And if you've got a movie that you want us to talk about, send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com.